The Kubuqi Desert is the seventh largest desert in China. It is located in the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, to the north of the Ordos Plateau. The Kubuqi Desert, which was once a vast, lifeless wasteland in China, is now becoming green. For centuries, nothing could grow here, and people had no choice but to leave. But today, something unbelievable is happening. This once dead desert is turning into an oasis of life. China has done the impossible, bringing back water, trees, and farms to a place where nothing could survive. But how did they do it? How did they turn endless sand into green forests? The desert was not just an empty land. It was a growing disaster. Massive dust storms were choking cities. Farmland was disappearing, and millions of people were suffering. The government knew they had to act before it was too late. They launched one of the biggest environmental projects in history, spending billions of dollars and using cutting-edge science to fight back against the desert. But this is not just about planting trees. It's about building a future where deserts no longer destroy lives. It's about using nature, technology, and human willpower to bring back what was lost. How did they do it? What secrets made this possible? And how is it changing China's economy today? The battle against the Kubuqi Desert was not easy. For centuries, the desert kept growing, swallowing villages and farmland. The people who lived near it had no choice but to move away. Every year, massive dust storms would rise from the desert and travel hundreds of kilometers, covering cities in thick sand. The Chinese government knew they had to stop this disaster before it was too late. But how do you stop a desert? The first step was understanding the problem. Scientists discovered that the desert was expanding because of overgrazing, deforestation, and climate change. Strong winds carried away the soil, making it impossible for plants to grow. If China wanted to fix this, they had to change the land itself. In the 1980s, the government launched a huge plan. They worked with local farmers and companies to turn Kubuqi into a green land. But simply planting trees was not enough. The soil was too dry, and the strong winds blew away any seeds they tried to plant. They needed a smarter solution. That's when they developed a special planting technique. They built sand barriers using straw to stop the wind. Then, they planted drought-resistant plants like licorice and desert poplar trees, which could survive with very little water. These plants slowly started to hold the soil in place, stopping the desert from growing. But one big question remained. How would they find enough water to make this project successful? Water was the biggest challenge in transforming the Kubuqi Desert. Without enough water, no tree, no plant, and no life could survive. The desert had extremely little rainfall, and any water that did come quickly disappeared into the sand. If China wanted to turn this wasteland into green land, they had to find a way to bring and save water. The answer came from a mix of modern technology and traditional wisdom. First, they built an underground water storage system. Instead of letting rainwater disappear, they created artificial lakes and reservoirs to store every drop. They also built canals to guide water where it was needed the most. But this was not enough. The water had to be used wisely. Farmers were given special training to use drip irrigation, a system where water is slowly released near the roots of plants. This way, not a single drop was wasted. They also planted special types of grass that could pull water from deep underground. To make sure this system lasted, the government also involved local farmers and businesses. They encouraged people to grow medicinal plants like licorice, which could survive in dry conditions and be sold for good money. This made desert farming profitable, so people had a reason to take care of the land. Slowly, the plan started to work. Trees grew taller, the soil became richer, and animals began to return. But the biggest change was yet to come. In the next part, we will see how this transformation affected not just the environment, but also China's economy and the world. The transformation of the Kubuqi Desert is now one of the greatest environmental success stories in the world. What was once a vast, lifeless desert is now a growing green land full of trees, plants, and farms. But this project was not just about saving the environment. It also changed the economy. The people who once struggled to survive in the desert now have new jobs and opportunities. The government worked with private companies to create eco-friendly businesses. Farmers started growing medicinal plants like licorice, which are now exported worldwide. The tourism industry also grew, with visitors coming to see the desert turned green. Solar farms were built across the desert, using the endless sunlight to produce clean energy. This not only provided power, but also created thousands of jobs. China's economy benefited greatly. The Kubuqi project has already added billions of dollars in economic value. The region that once suffered from poverty is now earning money from agriculture, tourism, and renewable energy. Experts estimate that if the current progress continues, the Kubuqi Desert could be fully green by 2050. New technology and better irrigation methods are making the process even faster. The success of this project has also inspired other countries to fight against desertification using similar methods. The Kubuqi Desert's transformation proves that no land is truly dead. With the right planning, patience, and effort, even the harshest deserts can turn into thriving lands. China has shown the world that nature can heal, and when it does, both people and the planet benefit.